Hey guys, welcome back. Mr. Kimball. I'm continuing my definition video. We went very quickly talking about the fact that words that we put together go through a process. We start with our grammar definitions, which is the foundation of our English language. Whenever we have more than one word, sometimes we have phrases that they sound like they go together. Once we have the concept of phrases where we can put multiple words together, then sometimes they have a bigger purpose and they have a subject and a verb and it shows some kind of action or some kind of existence. We move into clauses. Eventually, we get into combining those clauses in different ways and we have our different sentence forms. And then we have sometimes specific purposes for those sentences. So we have sentence styles. Eventually, we put those sentences together, whether it's topical or whatever it is, personal interest. We develop paragraphs from that. And whenever we start putting multiple paragraphs together, then we have paper. So I teach this as a process. Video number 1 on our grammar definitions, we talked about nouns and pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. We finished very quickly with the fact that interjection is just kind of thrown in there. It's a word, group of words that express strong or sudden emotion, like whenever you hit your thumb with a hammer and you have those words of expression that you may not necessarily say in a school appropriate environment, but you get what I'm saying. To finish those definitions, we need to talk quickly about verbals. And this causes a lot of confusion, and we throw it in with definition number 9 before we start getting into phrases and clauses and the different sentence structures and styles, because verbals are something that we just need to clarify that sometimes words look like something, but they're not actually functioning as the thing we think that they're supposed to function as. I know that's a little bit confusing, but that's the beauty of the English language. We do have words that do that. So, specifically, a verbal is a word which looks like a verb, but functions in the sentence as something other than a verb. So again, it looks like a verb. So as you're just flying through the sentence and you're looking at the words, it looks like it could be one of those verbs that shows action or state of being, but how it's being used in the sentence is very important. Remember, with our basic grammar definitions, that's the whole purpose of having these definitions so that you know that every word actually serves a purpose and you need to know what it's doing so that whenever you start putting those multiple words together, you're writing clear and concise types of sentences. Verbals throw people off. There are 3 common verbals. We start with infinitives. Infinitives are the to plus the base form of a verb. So foreign language uses this quite a bit. Before you start your conjugation tables, you use the to plus the base form of a verb quite a bit. So to speak, to write, to eat, to drive. Anything that has the to plus the base form of the verb, that's going to be an infinitive. And whenever you put those in a sentence, it actually functions as a noun. So it looks like you have words that could be verbs: to drive, to eat, to listen, to hear, to talk. But the way it's being used in the sentence is as a noun would. So it can be a subject, it can be the object of the preposition, it can be predicate, noun. There's lots of different things that it could be, but it's functioning as a noun. A gerund, then, letter B, so 9b, it's a verb that ends in the ing form, but it functions as a noun. So one of the most common sentences, for an example, would be swimming is my favorite hobby. That word swimming, we think of swimming as being in the water and splashing around and moving in some kind of motion through the water. But in that case, it's being used as the noun, and the word is the verb in that sentence. So let me say that one again. Swimming is my favorite hobby. The verb is. That's the verb. It's not actually doing anything. It just exists. Well, who or what is? Swimming. Swimming is. Swimming is what? Swimming is my favorite hobby. I'm doing that list for a very specific reason. I like to find the verbs, and then we find the subjects, and then we find the predicate as a process. Gerunds are a little bit confusing because they end in that ing, but they are functioning in the sentence as a noun. Participles are also very confusing. They also end in the ing form of the verb, sometimes the ed form of the verb, but their function, their purpose in that sentence is to function as an adjective. Okay, function as an adjective. Um, Again, I'm not going to go through a lot of examples here. That's not the purpose of these videos. It's really just to give the definitions here. But a participle, gerund, and infinitive, those things are tricky little monsters because they all look like they could be a verb that show action or state of being, but how they are being used, which is important, makes them not a verb, but something else. So we call them a verbal. Kind of interesting. All right, guys, I hope that just some basic definitions helps you out. In future videos, we're going to talk about some of those things in much more specific details. So tune in for the next set of videos. I'll talk to you later.